Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's Mike Hayes here. Just thought we would bring you some intermittent commentary for this match between Simon Singleton and Neil Wally. I'm currently just juggling a couple of other duties, and our regular commentator John is obviously in the middle of his match, so we'll do the best we can to keep you updated on this match here. So obviously I've missed the start of the match myself, and I see that Simon has made a good start and is 2 up on Neil. Fantastic matchup this one. Two players I personally really enjoy watching, and 2 absolute studs as well. So expecting some good pool, and this really could go either way. So I figured I'd get some thank yous in quickly while I'm on here. So I just want to firstly, thanks again to the Richmond Club for being fantastic hosts and venue for these events. They always look after us really well, and just a thanks to everyone else as well who's helped me out this weekend with making this happen. Really appreciate it. All the guys like Paul and John giving up their time to help with the control table and the streaming and whatnot. It's very much appreciated, and thanks to everybody who's either entered and played or come down and watched and supported. It's been a really good weekend so far, and down to the business end now. All the 2 lives are gone. It's straight knockout from here, sink or swim. Looking extensively at a couple of lines on the table there, but if I'm 100% honest, I'm not quite sure what he's looking at. So was he trying to make that yellow? So just for those who aren't following on Q-Score and want an update on the other quarterfinals that are in progress at the moment, we have Kerry Michaelides playing against John Saundercock, who are currently at 1-1. Des Wilcox is 4-1 up on Patrick Cowan, and Adam Lilly 3-0 up on Tony Gumley. I did wonder what the odds would be paying on a repeat of last year's final between Adam and Simon. Obviously both the top 2 seeds, opposite sides of the draw. If they retained their lives, they were always going to steer clear of each other into the final, and in theory probably 2 of the players who should be putting in the most time at the moment, being on their way to the World Champs in a few weeks. So a little bit unlucky there for Neil. He's played the shot to develop the yellow on the red that were tied near that middle pocket, and unfortunately the yellow's found itself covered by the 8, so he's got a bit more work to do yet here. As he got the line here, I tell you, he wasn't looking to touch that red on the way through, but he put it on a good line and gave it a good chance. I'm not sure what his options are with this yellow, though. I'm struggling to tell from this view if it will pass the black and go onto the yellow over the corner. I think that's what Neil is eyeing up at the moment. If that's on, that is the shot, but if it's not, it'll probably be a containing safety here. He's got the legs. And just a touch short for pace. I'm not sure if he can still take the rail first and make that yellow. Equally, if he does take the rail first and make that yellow, the cue ball is going to be travelling into that red, so he's going to be shaping around it slightly. Wow, it's hit nothing. Unlucky. I think he would have been expecting to contact that red and, have the cue ball sitting in that area and maybe have a fine cut on the yellow, but he's really cut down his options now. I don't know if he was trying to play the two rails for the middle, or if he was trying to glance the red and go on the corner, but if he was going for that Marcus double into the middle, that's a fantastic effort from that position. He's possibly got a little bit, you say it's fortunate or unfortunate where the yellow has landed on the red. Obviously that yellow sitting on the red ties up one of the reds for Simon, forces Simon, he's going to have to play a shot to develop that or open it. Obviously it also makes things tough for Neil, so yeah, that's pretty much what I was expecting. We would typically see that in this rule set. If you pot out 5 or 6 balls and don't finish, you've usually played yourself into a world of trouble, and the name of the game here for Simon is patience at this point. He just needs to make sure that he keeps Neil tight, and he's basically forced Neil to develop that yellow and red here, and knowing that he's got numerous reds in good positions, so Neil's going to be trying to find something here. And so he's done well to make a couple of the reds a little bit more difficult, but again, Simon has the opportunity straight away he can take this red into the corner to develop them, or he's also got the option of probably just potting this red and then clipping one of those reds out and welding the white onto the back of the second red. So I'll be interested to see which way he goes about it. I know myself, I don't like to give my opponent too many visits back to the table. I'd be inclined to try and develop the reds and progress, but we'll see which way he goes. So it looks like he's probably going to play the plant here, or the two-way shot, where if he doesn't make it, the cue ball's safe, or he might deliberately not make it. Is that a foul? Has he hit rail first? Did he hit a rail after contact there? Yes, sorry, just checking the replay here at my end, and yes, he definitely did catch the rail after contact. And that's it. It's the sensible play in these situations. It's very easy. Neil's touched the reds. I don't know if Simon's seen that, but I've watched that red ball wobble. I'm not sure if it was the cue ball or his tip, but either way. And yeah, sorry, I was just saying the aim of the game in these situations is patience. It's all well and good saying, yep, I'll pot that ball and develop those two, but there's always a little bit of risk attached to that option. You can never say exactly for certain where the balls will land after the split, and if Simon doesn't fancy this here, I wouldn't be surprised to see him play another similar shot again, where he just might look to open these reds up slightly more and again just try and shut out Neil. So let's see what he goes for. That was the shot I was looking at, actually putting the cue ball in behind it, play that red out of the middle of the three first. No, he's probably just going to chip it into the open, keep that cue ball welded to the back of the red. And what we'll notice here, I mean, it's easy to look at that and think, oh, he could have opened those reds slightly more, but what he's making absolutely sure of is that it's actually very difficult for Neil to hit that yellow. You definitely don't want to leave him a kicker that he could make, and here we go. Look at that. And as we touched on, that's the risk of every time you give your opponent another chance back at the table, you just give them the opportunity to pull something out of nothing, and unfortunately it's come back to bite this time. Is this black on? Oh, I did wonder if the black passed the red, and unfortunately...
Oh, they took that number.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to. So I can't quite tell how well this plant goes on. I suspect he'll play that anyway. Is he going to go for the red over the corner first? Yep, clears the pocket. And he does need to cut this a wee bit to make the combination on. Doesn't look like too much, and the cue ball will naturally be taking 2 rails back out towards the black spot. Ooh, a little bit short. I'm sure he would have wanted to have taken the ball to the middle next, but definitely still there. He's probably going to have to go red to the corner, red to the middle, but the byproduct is going to be that he's going to end up, his final red will be slightly longer than what he would have wanted. Still shouldn't pose too much issue for him though. This is just what we're seeing. That one slightly loose positional shot before has just made his final red's going to be slightly longer. Testy one. Wow, and he's missed that by a lot. And it just goes to show what seemed to be an innocuous, slightly loose positional shot a few shots earlier. And yep, the balls were still there, but it's often being a little bit lazy on those simple ones that can come back to bite you. And there we have it. I wonder if that could, I know it's very early in the match, but it could be a turning point. I mean, it was a frame Simon should have won, and a 3-0 lead is a lot more comfortable, and now we're looking 2-1 and right back in it, Neil. How's the break? So he's made it red. Probably fancy the yellows here, mainly just that red ball on the left side of the screen near the middle pocket, close to the rail. Not fantastic, yeah, and now the red close to the black, not super accessible. Definitely think yellows are the set here. You know, there's the 2 yellow balls very close together, possibly pose the most issue. Obviously he's got this other yellow near them to the corner, and if he drops that one in the corner, he'll have the natural position on one of those yellows back to the opposite corner on the left side of the screen. So he was just looking at that yellow then. So he might take this yellow down the bottom end of the table first and then look to get in that same position, and definitely just want to address those 2 potential tricky balls as early as possible. Interesting option. He's kicked that yellow into a worse position than what it started. He obviously didn't feel he could hold on the angle he wanted for the the shot that I was suggesting. This one sneaks past into the corner. He should be back in control, and he's touched the red. It's his second one of those. I think he just did a cue foul on the previous frame as well, so there's something to think about for Neil there. He's feeling the nerves, feeling the pressure perhaps. So this ball in hand gives Simon a fantastic opportunity early to try and develop or promote that red against the black. Shows what I know. Instead, he's taken the opportunity to clear that pocket, take away one of Neil's key working balls, and leave Neil pretty tough from the bottom end of the table. So yeah, Simon obviously still does have that red ball just above the black that he's going to have to develop at some point, but he's just ensuring that the chess pieces on the table are situated such that he has as much advantage as possible. And so sensibly there for Neil, he's just making sure he opens those yellows, if he can cover these top corners a wee bit, which he has done, just trying to leave himself a couple more options at least when he invariably comes back to the table, making sure that yellow near the black is still containing that red. Oh, that's a nice shot. You know, those when the ball in the corner is absolutely deep in the jaws, that shot's a lot easier, but he actually had to cut that red away from the rail to make that combo, and he's played that perfectly. He's taking care of his rail ball, so at this point his balls are relatively well positioned.
Right. Yeah, we've already got it. Thank you. Right. And so I can take this now.
Interesting. I wonder if he was trying to catch that a lot thinner and then nestle the white on the back of the same red. I'm surprised if this was what he wanted to leave Neil. And if he takes the yellow to the bottom left corner as we look at the screen, I think the cue ball is naturally tracking towards the pair of yellows, although it might slide past them off the side rail and head back down towards bulk, so I'm not sure he will go for that. Looks like he's going to take this one of the two now. And yeah, that's a great pot. The yellows open up a lot from here. This one should be relatively natural if he plays it slow and holding to sit himself on that yellow that's just below the red and the black. Oh, he's taken the long one first. It's a brave shot, but oh no, he's missed that by a bit too. I like the intent, you know, you take on that difficult shot now and it really takes the pressure off and makes the rest of the finish a lot easier and more straightforward. But and to be fair, as long as that red of Simon's is contained, you could possibly argue it makes sense to take on the harder ball early. You know, if you missed it, there's at least a bit of work left for Simon to do. Oh, where's the cue ball going? He's scratched. He'll be disappointed with that one. Great opportunity for Neil now. I wonder if he'll take the one in that bottom corner first, get done at the end of the table, or maybe save it to last. I think will be the best bet. You know, if he leaves himself sort of like a half ball angle on that yellow to the top right corner last, the cue ball is naturally just going to run back towards the centre of the table, leaving the black into the bottom left as we look at the screen. So I think that's the go. Probably just run through here, leave himself half ball on the next yellow, naturally tracking down the table. And he probably wants to get... He's possibly gone slightly far on this, actually. I think he would have wanted to be travelling the other side of the red in the centre of the table. I'm not sure the angle's there for that now. But he's able to take second rail and achieve the same thing, but a little bit far again. And I tell you what, I reckon this yellow is a little bit straighter than he would have wanted. Does he go rail first? And he's caught it far too thin, so if he goes rail first and catches that heavy, the cue ball comes off really slow. But they're tricky little shots, and to be fair, he got down and played that shot very quickly, and considering that was the critical ball, I was a little bit surprised to see that. What a shot from Neil. He's played a couple of poor shots in a row before that black, and then he has pulled off a kick carom to nick the black in the corner. So, wow, I don't quite know what to make of that. I thought he'd butchered a very, very routine finish, and he's ended up pulling that shot out to make the black. So, just goes to show that you're never safe in this game. Great to see some good viewing numbers on the stream, so thanks everybody for tuning in. It's a bit of a grey, drizzly day in Christchurch here, so not a bad day to be set up on the couch in front of the fire under the heat pump with the pool on the telly. How's it going, Kent? Good to see you tuning in, mate. So, interesting match here. Big up both players and hype this match up, but to be honest, is a match that Simon really should be 4-0 up from what I've seen. The last two frames, Simon was in control and in good positions. Probably had the better opportunities or the first chance to take those two previous frames, and he'd be kicking himself because 4-0 up here would be a much stronger position to be in. But to be fair, Simon played his first game at 9 this morning, and then he's gone and had the break while Neil's had to play another match to get back. So Neil is coming off, perhaps a little bit warmer. No, another miss. So not that these guys are playing exceptionally poorly, but I just have the feeling it's just probably going to take one of these boys just to step it up a little bit and sort of start finding, closer to their A game, and there's a great opportunity for either of them to start running away with it if they can, just find that extra 1 or 2%. It's not a bad wee shot there. It might be a little bit far on this yellow, but if that cue ball's come far enough and he can make that yellow now, it takes care of one of the more tricky ones. It's going to be a little bit hard to control his cue ball coming out of there though, especially if he's going to be elevated playing over top of that red, but no, it looks like he can get his tip on the ball okay past the red. It's a good pot, but it's always going to be tricky to be precise with the cue ball when you're contacting another ball, and you might have liked to have slid down a little bit further there, but The main thing is he's still at the table, so he's still got the opportunity to, if he can't find a ball, he's usually pretty sharp at finding the touch to keep things tight for his opponent. Yeah, and that's the one. So main thing there is just developed his yellows slightly, made sure that they're a little bit more on, but the number one priority there was just making sure that he's not giving Neil a good look at the table. And perhaps it's it's just a bit of the sort of the nature of the way this match has played out so far. Often when you do have a few sort of safety exchanges and cagey exchanges, when the opportunities present themselves to start trying to string a few balls together with a bit of position, sometimes it can desert you a little bit when you've just played a few frames without playing in that manner much. So could be a factor also. So I think if he clips this yellow and thin, I think he can catch it thin enough that he can run the white around the rails and miss those three yellows. So yeah, you can see that's the zone there he would like to get into. I think he'd be looking to catch this as thin as possible and take two rails and slide just past the yellow and red. How's the pace? Perfect. Nicely judged. So that was one there. You've actually got a relatively big pocket, and he probably didn't have to cut it that thin to make the pot, but he did have to cut it that thin to avoid the contact on the yellow and red, and narrowly missed them. So well judged. Just going to be careful here that he's not kicking the second yellow onto the rail. Yeah, and nicely done. So he's intentionally had to play that slightly firmer than he would have, just to develop that yellow off the rail. Has compromised slightly the angle on the next one. I think he would love to have shot the yellow off the black spot into the corner first, taking the yellow into the middle last, but I'm not sure if he can do that now. So he can take the yellow to the corner and use the red to hold for the yellow, but it relies on catching that red full ball. Yeah, nicely done, well executed, and it made that shot look easy, but if he catches that red a little bit thick or thin, suddenly this yellow's not here. And a nice angle to come back out. So well taken from Simon there. He had a bit of work to do, but he's executed it quite well and deservedly takes a 3-2 lead. Sorry, team, just had to duck away for a sec. We just had our first two results come in the quarterfinals. So a couple of big wins early. Adam Lilly 8-1 over Tony Gumley, and Des Wilcox 8-2 over Patrick Cowan. So really solid efforts from both Tony and Patrick today. Obviously neither of them are going to be thrilled with those score lines, but I know they've both been grinding through the losers side of this event, and you really have to play a lot more matches to get back to this point. So I think they can both hold their heads high with their efforts this weekend, and Adam and Des have just showed their class. And I guess the good thing for those two, I know it's always fantastic and at this point in the tournament if you can get a big victory. It's fantastic for the confidence, but I think as much as anything, just in terms of conserving energy, when you're playing pool all day for 2 days straight, the reality is it takes it out of you, and when you get to the final, you ideally want to still be feeling fresh and focused. So it's a good job from both Adam and Des there. They get through their matches comfortably, they'll be feeling good, and they should still have a bit of juice in the tank for the semis. So back to the match at hand. I've missed just the start of it, but it looks like Simon is on the yellows. It definitely looks like yellows are the ones you'd want to be on, but he's overscrewed that, so he was definitely keen to get on that yellow on that side rail early. Looks like he's come back a touch too far, so he's going to force him. I'm not sure if he's going to shoot straight at one of the two in the corner, or if he's going to still play this yellow down the rail anyway. Oh, nice. So it looks like he's actually used a bunch of right-hand side to throw it in. I was familiar with that sort of shot. Obviously put a lot of right-hand side, gets the cue ball rotating anti-clockwise, and that spin on contact will grip the object ball and throw it slightly to the left of line. So very fun, handy little shot if you're confident and comfortable playing it. Executed nicely there. So presuming he's not tight to that red, I think the shot he would like to play here would be sort of the face double on the red on the other side, potentially back inside the yellows. I would have thought that would be a good pocket to try and get a red towards. I mean, obviously in these rules is, the turnover shot's available, but I think with Simon having two yellows in that corner, I think if Neil can get some reds in the mix there as well, that just helps take that control away. And so he's played the shot nicely. He's potted it clean. Debatable whether he wanted that in clean or whether he would have rather it in the jaws, but to be honest, the pace he played it at was not the sort of pace you play if you want to hang it in the jaws. It was more the pace to pot the ball and get the cue ball out for the next one. So possibly looking to take this red here. He's eyeing up in the middle of the table. I think he'll be keen to get over and be shooting one of those reds on the right hand side of the table down the rail inside the yellows as early as possible. I think that'll be his... he's just really not cueing his best today, Neil. I never like criticising these guys in this position. Obviously they're all fantastic players, achieved plenty more than I have, but that's the nature of the gig. We have to call it how we see it, and yeah, Neil's a better player than that miss anyway. And yeah, done from Simon, just ensuring that those yellows do not come down the rail in the mix. He has left the opportunity to push this other red down here underneath them, but as we know, blocking a pocket in this rule set is not quite as valuable. Then it'll just give Simon the opportunity to play a turnover shot and snooker him back and then leave him in all kinds of trouble. So I'm just going to take a short break, team. Just have a couple of other matches to attend to in the flyer comp. I'm just going to go sort those out, and I will be back with you shortly. All right, we're back. Thank you for bearing with me. So it looks like we're back here at 3-3 now. Simon Singleton and Neil Wally. On the other match, still playing 3-3 between Kerry and John. And oh wow, so Neil's found a shot on the yellow, but been quite unfortunate. It was going to be a tough black from there, but wide open table for Simon to get amongst here. Fantastic chance to get back out to a 1-frame lead. Take your time. So just about mapping this one for Simon. He's one of, if not the best player in the country with his mapping, so I expect nothing less than a clearance from him here. The only potential tricky ball is the red down the opposite end of the table near the right rail as we see it. Ideally, I suspect he'll want to use the other two reds on that side of the table last, so he'll be looking to go play this red to the corner, red to the centre, slight stun screw out, play the red down to the bottom right with a little stun draw down for the final red to the top. Just got to make sure he gets back just the side of straight. He doesn't want to end up short of straight here. Yeah, he's executed that perfectly. Just getting the right angle is key. The only thing he doesn't want to do here is end up with an angle where the white's going to rest on the rail after the red, so he's just going to make sure that he's got enough angle on this final red. Yep, nicely done as well. Touch straight, but just a hair of stun follow. Just to ideally just get the cue ball a ball width off the rail, and that just gives you enough room to confidently get your tip on the ball without any issues. And that's it, like we say, just a hint of stun follow. It's not so much about the angle, it's just about creating that space between the cue ball and the rail. A nice black from Simon, so well taken finish. A little bit unlucky for Neil with the scratch, but he was always going to be playing for an element of luck on that one, and unfortunately didn't come off for him that time, and Simon takes a 4-3 lead. Simon. So I was just going to touch on before, both these matches that are still underway are progressing relatively slowly. Obviously we have a 2-hour time limit, and with one only being at 4-3 and the other at 3-all, are in danger of running into the shot clock, the match clock towards the back end of the match. So as we all know, all these guys are good enough that a few frames, a few clearances later, the scoreline can change pretty drastically, pretty quickly. But if the matches keep playing out in the same sort of format or pattern as we're seeing at the moment, we could have a 6-red shootout on our hands later on. So for the players, that's horrible. You hate to be deciding a massive 2-hour-long quarter-final epic with a race to clear 6 balls, but for the neutral spectator, fantastic. So good to see more and more people filling into the club as we get into the afternoon. Always a bit of a tough ask to expect people to come out on a Sunday morning to watch some live pool, but nice for the guys on the tables at the business end of this tournament to have a few people around watching and supporting. I'm wondering here if he's just trying to take one or two rails and get towards where the black is to have the red to the corner next. Just like that. And the line he was looking at from the bottom of the table before, I'm unsure if he was trying to work out what sort of line he's going to need to come back onto the black, or if he's thinking that's the line he wants on the final red to get on the black. Obviously the red over the middle would be fantastic to play last if possible to get on the black, as it's right there, but yeah, I was just going to say that the pattern of the balls just didn't really lend itself to that. This red out in the centre of the table is not the most amazing ball to be using to transition to the black, mainly because there's that yellow in between the two of them, which it's got the potential for the snooker, but as long as he leaves himself the right angle, all he really has to do is get the cue ball back over to this left side of the table, and he should have a pretty good look at the black. I don't know if he loves that angle. I think he wanted to go a touch further and be a little bit straighter. I think this angle he's got now. The only thing actually, to be fair, if he's cutting this thin, maybe with a trace of right, the cue ball will be looking to take two rails and head back towards the black spot. So he might be able to actually run it all the way around the table, land underneath the black and have a shot on the black into the middle. And I think that's the line. He just looked at the black into the middle now, but fraught with danger. And to be fair, at this point, when you're down to only one ball left, you're no longer in a position to sort of try and control the frame tactically. You just don't have enough balls and pieces to work with. So Simon has to find a shot here. He has to make this red, and he has to get a good look on the black. So he's going differently. It looks like maybe he's going to take the corner and take that line to get under the black, and overruns slightly. So yeah, to be fair, that was possibly the more natural way to get on the black. I think the other shot I called was perhaps off the back of the line he was putting down on the table with the cue earlier. I wondered if that was what he was shooting for. So pocket weight to the top left corner inside the three yellows. Yeah, beautifully played. Beautiful. So perhaps Simon, the first one of these two to get out of second and hook third gear and start accelerating forward. He's got a 2-frame buffer now, so he can start to relax and get about his work. He's only a few frames away from the finish line, and the pressure really on Neil to find something now. He's definitely not been vintage from him today. A couple of cue fouls and a couple of surprising missed pots, so he's got to dig deep and find something to get back into this match. Interesting, Simon going for the cut break there. Again, haven't quite been 5 years ago. So Adam Lilly was just popping past me, reminiscing about a tournament we played that was 4 years ago now. I'm not sure if anybody caught that, but so off the back of lockdown, obviously when we first got out of lockdown there was still social distancing in place, so we weren't allowed to get back down to the clubs and play, but was able to invite round 8 of Canterbury's finest queues and run a pretty sweet garage shootout, and we did it in the style of the Tame shootout with a 15-second shot clock. So yeah, sorry, Adam was just swinging past and reminiscing on that one, and crazy to think, yeah, that was 4 years ago already. It doesn't feel like that long. So sorry for the little side wander there, just taking a leaf out of co-commentator John Saundercock's book. Ooh, just unfortunately for Neil, just the potting today, to be honest, it's just not quite been to his usual sharp standard. Not a great leave though, no easy starters for Simon. I think he'll be looking at this yellow first, we're going to the top right. Oh no, is that second yellow onto the corner? Containing safety, and to be fair, Simon's catching me out a few times where I'm looking for shots and I'm not seeing necessarily the options he is, where it's looking to promote a yellow, keep reds tight. It's really good to watch. I think for a lot of us who are a wee bit newer to this game and newer to these rule set, obviously some of these guys heading over to the World Champs soon, bit sharper and more up to speed with it, so it's good for us to get a little bit more insight into how best to approach this rule set tactically. And Can all learn. So it was a good wee starter from Neil, just quietly. Plenty of work to do still though. I think he wanted to run slightly further on this. It's onto the corner and the angle is there to sort of develop the yellow and the red, but is relying on a good shot. And has he played it nicely? So sort of the red underneath the yellow. So it looks like we've got the red to the corner and a red to the middle. It's got to be the go. He probably, on the red to the middle, he would want to finish short of straight so that the cue ball is naturally moving back towards the centre of the table. And it's very important on almost all shots. Oh no, he's gone. He's gone a bit too far. I was just going to say, it's very important on all shots. There's always, there's a line dead straight from the ball to the pocket, and there is always a side of that line that you would rather be on. So good tip for any players out there. If you can identify which side of that line you want to be on and stay on the correct side of that line, you make your life a lot easier. So yes, it's a sensible option for Neil there. I was sort of thinking, playing into the safe area, middle of the table, take the black to the corner, but he's managed to get dead straight, which has allowed him to just run through and have a nice routine black into the middle. So perhaps I was overreading it there. So important frame for Neil. He needed that one. 5-4. So I'm just going to pop away for a second, just get some updates, some scores, and a couple of other matches. We'll be back with you shortly. Cool, so just in that space of time, Kerry Michaelides has also managed to open up a 2-frame lead over John Saundercock, where they were at 3-all early. So definitely, with, as we touched on earlier, both these matches going the distance time-wise, the match clock pressure is real at the back end of the match. You do feel that time pressure, and you absolutely would much rather be in front on the scoreboard than chasing on the scoreboard when that time kicks in. So strong position to be in for both Kerry and Simon here. So the gentleman is back in the building. He's back racking up, ready to start this 10th frame. So perhaps while not the all-out blasting, attacking masterclass that I was hoping for in this match, growing into quite a nice wee slow burner actually. And if Neil can kick on and make another rack here, square things back to 5-all, we've got a match on our hands. What am I talking about? We've always had a match on our hands. 1 or 2 frame difference is nothing to these guys. So the issue for Neil here is the 2 reds at this end of the table on the right side of the table. Looks like they are both on. Obviously 1 red into the centre and the other one down the rail, but it's going to require precise positional shots to string them together nicely. So he's gotten onto this one. My guess is that he will probably come back to the red down the rail last, right before the black. It's relatively natural for that. So it's just going to be all about getting a really good angle on his next shot. So this shot here actually becomes the most important shot of the rack. And while it looks like a very routine, simple pop into the corner, it's getting the precise angle on his next one to the middle that will set him up to make his final red as easy as possible. Oh, he's overhit it slightly, but I don't think he'll have too much problem. Oh, was he going for the middle? Maybe it doesn't pass the yellow to the middle. Maybe he wanted to take it to the corner, in which case he would have wanted to run slightly further. He's still got options either way. If it goes to the corner, he should be able to screw off the bulk rail with a trace of right, which would turn it the opposite direction off the rail, back towards the side rail. If it does go into the middle, he can probably play a little nippy, spinny one, but looks like we're taking on the corner, screw off the bulk rail, touch the side. Oh, didn't even need the side. A touch short. He would have liked to be a little bit closer, but he doesn't want to flirt with being snookered there. So 1 good pot. I think he can play like a drag slow one here. He's just not hit that well. A little touch of accidental side, I think. We just saw that immediately on contact it squirted the red into the rail, and he'll be disappointed. And again, what it boiled down to, it wasn't actually that shot there. It was the easy red to the corner. Was the critical one, and we saw that in one of Simon's attempted clearances earlier, where it was actually a simple shot where he was just slightly off with his posse, ended up being the shot that you know, several shots later it ended up being out of position. So it just goes to show it's not just about making the difficult shots and the big impressive shots in this game. It's about being very disciplined and focused on the simple shots and not allowing those lazy mistakes to get you out of position when they shouldn't. And so it's a tactic we've seen multiple times from Simon in these situations.
It's all good. Yeah. It's all good. Oh, okay.
Sorry.
So it doesn't look like he can get at the red. You know, with a bigger cue ball, I'd almost be borderline tempted to try and do a little swervy one maybe, but he is not looking to triple up and down the table, is he? Is he looking to come straight, almost dead straight up the table with left? Pretty much, you can see where his cue is. If that's where he wants. Yep, he wants the cue ball to hit the rail, turn sideways, and actually, if it holds the spin, it will straighten up slightly off the bottom rail when it gets back to it. This would be an outrageous shot. I really hope he goes for it because I want to see if he can get close. It is low percentage and it is tough, but and that's it. You can see angling that straighter line off that rail. What we should see if he does go for this is a bigger turn off the first rail, and then we should see the ball check up and straighten slightly off the second rail. Can he get it close? No, it's not a bad effort. It's not a bad effort. It's so hard to judge. So hard to judge. That would have been some shot. But as we see, because Simon on his last shot, he took the safety where he developed his ball and kept it tight, and now he's got the ball in hand with a great opportunity. I don't know if he played that first one perfect though. Does that yellow still pass the red into the corner? Looks like it still does. Might be a little bit tighter than he wanted it to be, but no, still there. No problems at all. So, pretty routine looking finish here. You can take these balls in any order you want.
That's good. Yeah.
Nice one. And always good if he can play that yellow to the middle last. Always good if he can have the cue ball tracking back towards the black on this final shot. Shorten the distance. No point making it any harder than it needs to be. Just a little baby screw. I don't know. I don't think you could ever convince me that was the best way to play that shot. Very interesting option. I mean, to be fair, I mean he was more than capable of hitting that shot, but I think what happened was he actually, because he played right hand side, it just pushed the cue ball slightly left of his intended line, and as soon as the cue ball catches the object ball a little bit thick, the contact just comes off much slower. So I think that was what happened there. That right hand side he's played, pushed the cue ball left, full contact, and the cue ball's come off slow. He'll be kicking himself, and it's really important here that you try and let that go, because this yellow is still very makeable. Just got to calm yourself, take a breath, refocus, trust the cue action here. So played at a good pace, but he's got to be disappointed with that one.
Yeah.
Good angle here for Neil. I imagine he's going to probably screw at the yellow. Enough pace to basically just not end up on the black. Perfectly done. And the key with that shot is the pace. You can never predict exactly where you're going to hit that yellow, but if you hit it at a good pace, you know that the cue ball is going to get back out of that corner, and he's played that perfectly. I mean, he couldn't have caught that yellow on a better angle if he tried, but probably the story of the match though is, Simon's given away a few frames from very strong positions. So 5-all. Yeah, Simon itching to get back to the table, but he's been allowed to have the break. Interesting, he's gone away from the cut break and gone back to the full break on that one, but he's not gotten it right. So I wonder if a little bit of frustration starting to creep in. I mean, Simon, he really, if I was in his position, I'd be thinking he should have won this match 8-2 by now. It's probably the truth of it, but the reality is, it's not. It's 5-all. He's got to keep focused and keep on keeping on. So there's plenty of people viewing, but not a lot of action in the comments this afternoon. What's going on there, guys? We got tired fingers, broken keyboards. Are these boys not giving you enough to chat about? Am I not giving you enough to chat about? Oh, good pop, but not a good cue ball. Yeah, we had to specifically put those stickers on the tables for this tournament, didn't we? These players, they're just rough with the gear, aren't they? No, I must admit, I think they're a new sticker the club had added to the tables. They weren't on there last time I was here, and I must admit, just from my perspective, knowing that we're streaming, I was like, no, I wish those weren't on there. They're not the classiest looking sticker, but hey, it is what it is. And a good reminder to show some love for your pool table and look after your cloth, eh? Who are the Crusaders? Never heard of them. It's been a hard couple of months supporting sport for me personally. The Crusaders, for years I felt like were my one rock solid sports team that I could rely on almost every weekend to win 9 times out of 10 and probably play well 10 times out of 10. But they let me down this year. I've been supporting Manchester United in the Premier League, and they've been absolutely tough watching as well. And we jumped on the bandwagon last year and we got up the wires, and they're making it tough watching as well recently. So I think I'm just going to stick to watching and calling pool for now. I'll wait for some of my other teams to sort their act out.
Jason 3-0. I haven't played the other guy yet, but we both haven't lost, so should we just play this one?
I'll just put them out in the set. Cool. So, good question asking how much time is left. They started on time at 1 o'clock on the dot. So basically, they've got 24 minutes left, so you can see the time on the screen on the stream. Hopefully their guys 2:36, so at 2:45 they will get their 15-minute call, and the matches will wrap up at 3 p.m. So I'm just going to have to take a short break again. I'll be back with you all very shortly.
Good afternoon, everyone. Alex Stones here, just jumping in, substituting for Mike Hayes for a wee while. Doing an excellent job of tournament director, doing the comms, looking after all the players. He's been pretty much running solo for yesterday and today, so top work, Mike. What a great match here we've got in the quarterfinals. Simon Singleton versus Neil Wally. Don't forget the Superleague South Island Open. It really is the last major domestic title that Simon is yet to win. He was a quarter-finalist, I believe, in the inaugural South Island Open, which was Bowie's in Dunedin 2021. He was the losing finalist last year against Adam Lilly. Hill match went down to the final black. It's not going to be an easy path to victory for him today. If he beats Neil Wally in this match, then Neil was just trying to. That's a good shot. Got that ball out the way. So Simon wins this. He's going to have to play Des Wilcox in the semi-finals. Well, Neil sold the farm a little bit on that shot. Went for it and has really let Simon in, but there's still a fair bit of work for Simon to do with those reds nearest the black, but he's just playing a very good safety shot just to develop those reds. Doesn't look like he's left Neil on with anything. So, time to attack for Simon, I believe. Well, I don't know how Simon managed to miss it. He was obviously trying to flick it off the yellow. Not too sure if the ball rolled off or not, but it's a seriously wasted opportunity by Simon there.
How many people are watching? 140. After this match, I'm going to turn the screen and I'm going to have a semi and the final on the same screen.
So the only question for Neil now is, how does he open up that yellow, touching that black? This is the opportunity to go into it now. It is. So it looks like the only pocket that yellow's going into is the left middle. Oh, and he would have gotten the natural angle had he made that incredibly fine cut. Let's not forget that Simon and Neil, the finalists of the Champion of Champions tournament back in 2022. Neil Wally ran out as the victor on that occasion. Very, very high quality match. And took home the $8,000 first prize. Not a bad payday for 2 days' work from Neil. And don't forget, we are on the 2-hour match clock, so I think they've got just over 10 minutes left. If the players are level after 2 hours, then it does go to a 6-thread shootout. We didn't see a single 6-thread shootout at the North Islands in New Plymouth a few weeks ago. I'm not too sure if we've seen any. The two. Oh. Yeah, we actually had two 6-thread shootouts yesterday. Who's that?
Tinkler and Mark Harrison, and Rob Redgrove and Kerry.
I forgot them already. Yeah, so one of the so Sarah Tinkler and Mark Harrison had a 6-thread shootout yesterday, and Rob Redgrove and Kerry McAladies had a 6-thread shootout as well. Always good fun to watch those. Well, Simon got the snooker. So I was wondering if he was playing the cut double on the red to pull it to knock it off, because there's a big pocket in that top left with that yellow. So I didn't know if he was playing that shot. How many?
10 minutes.
So a 10-minute call on this match. Simon's going to move on to the hill with this shot. $7-5 to Simon, so it does mean that Neil's going to have to get his skates on. Simon can just slow the pace of the match down. Obviously a tactic that a lot of the players were doing over in the Pocket series as they neared the end of the match clock. So Simon just playing quite a softer break there. Right, so Neil just needs to get into this frame ASAP. See what he can do. As you can see, he's barely taking any sort of feathering strokes. So I think they're all... Yeah, I think they're all there. Looks like, is he just going to just run into this mini little cluster? Probably just wants, that's it. Yep. I was just going to say, he didn't want to smash into it. Just the slightest of little kisses. Oh, that's a good shot. Great shot by Neil. Yes. Very nice, Neil. Has it gone in? Yes. There's a break and run in approximately 70 seconds. You know how long that break and run was? Paul, we got the stats on that.
It was about 60 to 70 seconds, yeah.
Yeah, so that break and run was about 60 to 70 seconds. So there we go. He's breaking off in frame 14 as well. Maximum of 2 frames remaining. So Simon just going to try and slow things down a little bit now. And yellows clearly look the better option. Just an update on the other match that's currently taking place. Kiri McAlades is on the hill against the Voice, John Saundercock. Kiri 7-4 up in that one. So no doubt once John's game's over, I'm sure he'll be back in the commentary booth. Yeah, I think Simon quite happy to slow this frame down. Neil's balls are not in winning positions. So just coming up to 5 minutes remaining in this match. I'm sure most of us would love to see Neil take this frame and force a 6-red shootout. The grade as a neutral. Yeah, so Simon happy to continue to slow down the pace of this frame. It's got that pocket top left. It's got a ball of Neil's tied up the cluster on the right. So Neil's certainly going for the attacking options now. Well, Neil really tried to force something there. Still hasn't got that ball in the bottom right, out in the open. Wow. He's got them out. It was a good shot from Neil. And obviously he's having to play at a faster pace than he's used to, and might have contributed to that miss there. So just had the 2-minute match call. So Neil's just got to go for it now. Wow. He's got it out, but can he still double that? Didn't quite have the angle, and the cue ball was frozen on the cush. It's obviously no need for Simon to rush here. Well, I think that's game, set and match for Simon now. Well, I tell you what, if you can, there we go. Oh no, he overran, that was his chance. Yay! So Neil concedes. Wow, what a dramatic finish that would have been, but it wasn't to be. Commiserations to Neil Wally, our 2021 South Island Open champion. He is out, and Simon Singleton is through. Simon Singleton will be playing Des Wilcox. They will be kicking off at 3 p.m. So it's just gone 3. So I'm sure they'll be. Simon will probably just be taking a quick break, and then he'll be back into it shortly.
And we're going to cut the stream.
Yep. So we're going to cut the stream, guys, and we'll be straight back on, and then that final stream will take us through both the semis and the finals. So don't go anywhere. Have a look for the new link, and we'll see you soon.